Hi everyone, welcome back to Career 360. Today, this is going to be a very important and special episode for all those who would be preparing for CAT. Today, we have Ayush with us, who has been a CAT topper in the past year. He is currently pursuing his MBA from MDI Gurgaon. He scored a 99.77 percentile in CAT. He is here to share all about his preparation journey and also a little bit about his life at MDI Gurgaon. Hi Ayush, how are you?
I'm great, Vakya.
How is MBA life at MDI Gurgaon?
Yeah, it's going good. The past year has been like full of ups and downs, like all hectic before SIPs, then little bit chill, then academics pressure like gets to you. So it has been kind of up and down.
Okay, okay. So, Ayush, for people who are watching this video, could you just tell us a little bit more about yourself and your profile?
Sure. So, like most of the people who attempt CAT, I'm also an engineer. I have a Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Telecommunications from IIT DAVV Indore. Post which I worked for 23 months at Principal Global Services as a full stack software engineer. I have experience of attempting CAT thrice. Okay, so before that, I'll just come to my profile. So my profile is in 10th, I got uh, a 9.4 CGPA. In 12th, I kind of dipped and got a 76% in CBSE. And post that in graduation, I have a 7.74 CGPA. So I have experience of attempting CAT thrice. First in 2020 when I was in the final year of my engineering. So that was kind of a trial attempt. I got a 95 percentile, 94.71 percentile there. Uh, Next year, when I seriously studied, I ended up getting a 98.89. I had few calls, but I wanted to give another try to CAT because I knew that like 2 years experience is kind of the sweet spot in getting into B schools. In the third attempt in 2022, I got a 99.77, and which eventually led me to MDI. So here I am.
Okay. So, why this transition to MBA from an engineering background?
Okay. So while I was in engineering, I was a part of many clubs and committees. So I was mainly there in eCell. I was the president of Entrepreneurship Cell. And got a lot of exposure to how businesses work and how people are more running businesses that can lead to a better products and specifically like tech products. So I wanted to use my technology knowledge that I got in engineering and wanted to combine it with a business knowledge like that I could get in an MBA and mix it and make something out of it later in life, something going into like a product and strategy. So, which is why I thought MBA is the next step for me. Also, working as a software engineer, I kind of realized that there while I was in meetings with my team, I realized that the business part of the software is something I was more liking rather than actually coding. So, which is why I thought MBA is the next step.
Okay. So, apart from CAT, what other MBA entrance exam did you give?
So, apart from CAT, I also gave exams like uh, IFT and ZAT. I also
Okay.
gave a SNAP in my last attempt.
Okay. And how were your scores in those exams?
So, in IFT, I think I scored a 99.43. In ZAT, I scored somewhere around 99. In SNAP, I scored somewhere around 98. I don't remember the scores exactly.
Okay. So, you were in college when you initially started preparing for CAT. So, how did you manage your college studies with CAT prep, and approximately how many hours did you give it devoted to it on a daily basis?
So while I was in college in 2019, the in 2020, like post Holi, COVID hit, and due to which I had to the final year of my engineering was basically from home, and
Hmm.
in at home studying was very easy because it was just online classes, and for exams also we had to study less, so I had a lot of time. Uh, but
Hmm.
still, I didn't study much. I was more inclined towards playing games, computer games, and all. So I didn't study much in the final year of my engineering, and I was more focused towards like having fun back then, and also cracking a job because I needed a job post
Yeah.
my engineering.
So, during your second and third attempt, you were a working professional.
Yes.
So, what is the advice that you have for those working professionals? Like people who are working usually complain that they don't know how to manage their time, and how to get their schedule right. So how did you manage it while working?
So, first step, I think I took a very good decision. I had offers from two good companies. Like one was a full software engineering company, and one was a more consulting focused company. I went towards the engineering company because they were offering us work from home. And I realized that if I was working from home, I would be able to devote time to CAT easily. And that also happens, like for example, if someone has assigned me work, there will be some kind of doubts that I have, and in work from home it takes some time to like clear it up. Like it will, you have 2 hours free that are free, basically post that you have the meeting, post that which you can start working. So in those 2 hours you can just capitalize and work towards CAT. So that is how I dealt with it. So first step, I think, is taking a good decision in terms of which company are you joining. If that is not possible, I think you have to push yourself and you have to like prepare at night, because post you come back from office, you have to like devote enough time to CAT. Also, I think CAT is an exam that does not require a lot of study, because I have seen some people who are naturally good at, and some people who do require study. So you first have to try to understand which kind of person are you, and then strategize. Like for example, I think strategizing in CAT is much more important than like uh, just sitting and studying. Like thinking about how you're going to study is also a major aspect in post which you start studying.
Okay. So what were the books that you were using for your preparation, and what were the resources that you were utilizing?
So I was basically enrolled with a coaching known as Anastasis Shankar, Anastasis Academy, which is basically run by Shankar sir. And there only I used to study DLR and quants, and I used to do VARC on my own. But coming on to which resources I used Aeon to read articles. I also used to read newspapers. I think reading is a very important part in increasing your verbal ability score. So which is why I was focused towards that. Apart from that, I also was on a lot of Telegram groups. So Telegram groups of IMS and a lot of other coachings, which used to share different questions, and I used to just solve them. And I think I was more versatile in solving, and I would suggest that everyone should be, because like having questions from different sources will help you build an approach, build like resilience to tough questions. Because what happens is that uh, maybe you are referring from one book, the author of the book, it has a typical style of making questions. So the people who are making CAT, they are different each year. They might not have the same style. So if you're practicing from different styles, live different sources, that makes you more versatile towards solving a question. So and helps you get into like shortcuts and like tricks. So I think that is much more effective. So
Okay.
basically, that is what I did.
Okay. So among the three sections, which was the section that was difficult for you and that you found challenging?
I think VRC was definitely the one. Uh, but I would also think that quant was also something that I found difficult, given that I was not very good at maths in my back in my 12th standard and even in my engineering. But like quant is something I practiced a lot, and thus ended up getting a really good percentile. But VRC was something that I think I still I'm not very sure of how to like be very good at. But I think that is what my example will give you, that you don't need to be very good in all the sections. Being kind of mediocre in one section and being excellent in two other sections can still lead you to a great college.
Okay. So there is like a misconception that engineers are usually very good at math, and you told me that you improved over it. So how
Yes.
did you improve yourself? What were the books that you used, and what was the strategy that you planned for your con?
Okay, so for quants, I realized that I was more focused towards like calculation and more focused towards like a formulaic approach. But later, I realized that a lot later, I think, which is why I did not perform well in my 12th as well. Because I realized later that I am not good with the formulaic approach. I am a person who has to understand the question, get to the base of it, and start from the basics. And that is what I exactly did. I started solving questions, all the questions from basic, from like root level. I tried to get into the question, break it down, and then solve it. And later I realized, like, people used to say that you will not be able to solve it fast. But later I realized if you practice enough and you get the base of the question right, there will be many questions you will just breeze through in like 10 seconds, because you just know that the question setter is thinking that you will make this mistake, but you know that this won't work because you understand what how the question is made. So I think understanding the question was where I was lacking earlier, and after a lot of practice, I did improve on that, and that is why I eventually succeeded.
So did you just use your coaching material or any other books that you use for Pond?
So I use my coaching material for sure. I didn't use any particular book. I used to solve a lot of questions on Facebook groups, Telegram groups, and uh, all the doubts that people solve, and also mocks. I think mocks were a major part. So only that, no books as such.
Okay, then let's talk about mocks. How many mocks approximately did you give?
In my final attempt, I think I gave more than like 60 mocks, and the like it's not about how many mocks you give, but it is about how you analyze them. I remember that I used to have an Excel sheet, and I used to check all the, like, especially in the paper mocks that went bad. I used to really focus on how like which mistakes I have made. I used to mark them on an Excel and uh, get which topics I have to cover, which kind of silly mistakes I made and which I could have avoided. I think looking, like, just focusing on that made me a lot better.
Okay. So people usually get demotivated when they see a low score in mocks. How did you kept yourself motivated, and what is the one piece of advice that you would like to give to those people?
Okay, so I think motivation is something uh, like even though something bad hits you, motivation is something that comes from inside. And even though like I used to sometimes get bad scores, and that happened a lot of time, but whenever it happened, like I used to feel sad for some time, but then I knew that I have to give cat and I have to get into MB because that is what my next step is, and I have decided that it is not something like, you also understand, like post 12th, post 10th, mostly the parents are who decide your career, like what is going to be. But this is something that I have decided on my own, and I cannot give up on like something that I have decided. So I think the motivation was internal only for me. But what was more like satisfying was then when I used to get a bad score, I used to analyze it and I used to understand what kind of mistakes I made, and I used to realize that if I give this paper again, I am not that stupid that I will do these mistakes again. So basically, I knew that a bad mock score means that I have learned something, and a good mock score means that basically I have not learned anything.
Okay, so let's move on to your GPTI preparation. When you gave your attempt, after that, how did you start your GPTI preparation?
Okay, so my GDPI preparation was more focused towards like getting the basics right. So all the basic questions like tell me something about yourself, about your background, education. So I made sure that I am thorough with all of these things. I made a Word document and I made big answers from that for all these questions, basic questions. Post which I started preparing for my academic. So it had been 2 years since I touched my engineering acad. So I brushed up on them. I brushed up on them by like YouTube videos. I did not have my books and all anything. So I just use YouTube videos, Google, and by that time, ChatGPT was also there, and it was immensely helpful in just revising the topic. So you can just give it a prompt of what you think can be asked in this particular topic. So it will just give you major like topics, and you can just brush through them if you are aware of what it is. And mostly I think uh, when taking interviews, professors don't want you to know like a particular formula or anything. They just want you to know the basics. So that is why I think like chat gpt really helped me. I was able to like revise through that very easily, and post that I also gave a lot of mock interviews, and also practice writing so that I'm good at I get better at thinking as well. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. So what were the calls that you get that year apart from MBA?
Okay, so um, like because of my profile not being very good, I did not end up getting a Blackie call. I got my best call was FMS Delhi, and then the next best was MDI. I also got call from all the CAP institutes, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. And did you give the SMS interview
Yes, I did
during
give.
that?
I think I ended up like 10 waitlist away from conversion in the end.
Oh, yeah. How was the interview experience?
The interview was good. It was a high pressure interview for me because there were like six panelists that were there, and the panel was also trying to grill me on things. I think I was not able to take the pressure, but I do realize what mistakes I made, and I think I eventually learned from them. So I have no regrets.
Okay. And how was the interview experience at MDI Gurgaon?
The interview at MDI for me happened very early. It happened on like I think 4th or 7th February of 2023. It was the first week of interviews. I think I got the slot. The interview went very smoothly. They asked me about my academics. They asked me about why I want to do an MBA. They tried asking me about some questions about like particular internship that I had did. So I had interned at BHEL in Bhopal, and they asked me some questions related to transformers because I like the internship was related to that. So apart from that, the interview was very smooth. It was, I think, a 15-minute interview, and like there was nothing except apart the interview in the process.
Oh, that's great. So, did you give the interview for IM CAP calls as well?
Yes, I also gave the CAP interview.
Okay. And what were the calls that you converted post interview?
So I think I converted most all of the CAP interviews that I gave, like all the CAP colleges, and I also converted MDI in the first one.
Okay. Then, in that case, you chose MDI over IM. So, what made you make that choice eventually?
I understand the brand tag that IM gives you, but I was more focused towards what I can take away from the like what I can take as a learning from the institute. I realized that MDI being an older institute and an institute with better base of alums that are in great positions right now. So I realized that going for such an institute will be better for me. Also, I think that uh, like being in Gurgaon and being in a prime location in Gurgaon gives MDI a very big advantage. Like many multiple offices, Cyber Hub, and even the Google office is like walking distance away from here. So I think the space, the like place it is in, it gives a huge locational advantage to MDI, which is why I think thought of eventually choosing to go to MDI.
Okay. So, according to you, what are some of the factors that one student must consider while they are choosing their a B school for themselves?
Okay. So I think first factor should be like what kind of stream, like what kind of future does a person want to be in. For example, uh, if a person wants to like be in finance and like do very good in finance, I think many people have told me that IIM Calcutta is even better than IIM Ahmedabad in terms of finance. So I think what you want to do eventually matters much more. Then second thing is also you should see what kind of peer group and alums uh, you are getting. So peer groups you will know by because of like you will know that what kind of CAT score does a college accept and like what quality peers come in. You can also see the alum base on LinkedIn and you can realize what kind of alums the college has, where do they work, because MBA I think the companies um, come mostly because of alums, and like if the alum base is strong, they will not let the college fall. So uh, I think that is one another factor. And third, I think you should also look at the locational advantage, because some places like that, some IIMs are located in remote places, which is very difficult for companies to come, and they would prefer something that is closer to them. So I think that also is important.
Yeah. So, MDI Gurgaon is known for marketing. Is marketing something that you look yourself forward going from MBA, or is there some other domain that you find yourself interested in?
Yes. So True MDI is very good at marketing, and I wanted to go into like product kind of roles in future. And I realized that product is a kind of a mix of strategy and marketing, which is why, and both are really good at MDI, which is why I thought that like if I come here, I'll get the knowledge of both, and I'll be able to proceed into prod. And coming into why I think people should look for marketing at MDA, I think it is like you can just Google the alums on LinkedIn and you will find that alums are working in all the FMCGs and big marketing companies. So I think that build up the confidence in me to take it.
Okay. So let's talk more about your campus life at MDI. How is the campus life, and what is it that you guys usually do to get away with the MBA hustle?
So I think eating food is the best thing to relieve stress. And MDI, since it's in a good location, there is a lot of things that are outside the campus that are very good, like Cyber Hub you can visit, and there is also Sector 14 Market, which has good street food, so which is just walking distance only. So that is a really good locational advantage. Plus, coming on to inside how the campus life is like really good. You get to there are sports facilities like badminton, tennis, and basketball, even football. And we sometimes do play that when we are like free. There is a great library, so I'm right now sitting in the library only. So you can if you have any meeting or you have any book where you want to study, you can take that. And you can roam around the campus. The night walks are amazing, especially this time, like which is like kind of springtime. The campus is really beautiful as well. All the flowers and all are blooming and all, so it's really good. I think all the facilities here are really good, and the campus is also really good to like safe and good to be around. So I really enjoy it.
Okay, so since you talked about the alums of NB school, how important do you think networking is during an MBA?
I think networking is a very major part of MBA, but I think networking is something that should not be forced, but it should come from inside. But you so basically, if you have a good network, you can leverage that in future. And also, I believe network is built in a longer time, so you have to kind of invest in that. And I have seen a lot of people that uh, get jobs post MBA due to just because of networks because. Uh, like whenever there are LinkedIn jobs, there people will try to get to some person that is like an alum or is a batchmate and will try to get a referral through, which eventually works out for them. I am also in the alumni relations committee here at MDI Gurgaon, and that has also given me open doors for me to like networking with a lot of alums. And I have realized that networking is has to be important, and not just for MBA. I think even people who are like work engineering or doing engineering or like any other stream, they should also try to network because that is how you land up better jobs and better opportunities.
Okay. And what are some of the opportunities that the campus offer in terms of profile building or extracurricular activities?
So MDI has a lot of cultural and academic clubs. It also has some clubs like alumni committees and the corporate communications committee. So what happens that helps you get with get working with peers that are kind of different from you, which is how you learn. Putting you sometimes in an uncomfortable spot and eventually making you better. So I think just in a mindset building way, the club and committees really help. Apart from that, it also gives you good resume points to add on, good networking opportunities. Plus, in terms of profile building, there are a lot of competitions that keep happening, a lot of case competitions inside and outside, where MDI is MDI does win a lot of prizes. So I think that is also gives you an opportunity to add something better to your resume, and that's it, I guess.
Okay. Also, tell us more about the curriculum at the MBI Gurgaon because so usually these schools follow a case study based pedagogy. Is it same over
Yes.
there? And is it industry relevant? Do you guys have any mentorship sessions? What is the study over there like?
So I really enjoy studying at MBA because it is kind of a study driven teaching institute. Like there are a lot of cases that are provided, and uh, we get to learn from not just from like big companies, but also from small companies like companies based in Gurgaon. So we recently also had some sessions with like a local company that is from Gurgaon and is doing good. So I think these kind of sessions and these kind of cases also help us understand how you build a company from base and you make it big, and how also like cases about big companies also help us know that how what are the kind of problems big companies face and how you can go around them and like fix them. So I think that is a great way to study. And coming on to like how the curriculum is, so basically in the first year the curriculum is set, and in the second year we have a lot of electives and we are allowed to choose any elective that we want to, and accordingly we basically get a specialization that we are doing in our MBA.
Okay. So, Ayush, right now in India, the startup culture is booming. It's getting more and more dominating. Do you think right now MBA as a degree is still relevant?
So I also used to have this question before I came in for an MBA. I think MBA is a lot more than just studying. It is kind of a personality development. I think I was a little introvertish and I was not very outspoken, but now I think I have developed much more confidence and I can speak easily, and like even when there is a presentation going on, I know nothing, I will be able to breathe, like breathe through it somehow. That kind of confidence I think I have developed. So I think it's more of a personality development rather than just studying. Running a startup will eventually like is a goal of many people around here going in future. But what happens is that if you are not like if you're mentally you are not very strong and your personality is not very sound, then it becomes kind of difficult to uh, like sustain the startup. So I think for some people it is not needed because they go through the personality development in the schools or like UG, but I think it does matter. So MBA does give you that, but plus it also gives you a lot of peers and alums and who are going to work in like great companies. So you always have someone to reach out to if you have any kind of work. So that I think also really helps. So which I think makes MBA very relevant.
That's true. So, Ayush, your journey has been really inspiring to people who would be preparing this year. So, what is that one piece of advice that you would want to share with the students who would be preparing for CAT 24?
Okay, so I have seen a lot of CAT aspirants that like start with a lot of energy and the energy kind of like dwindles down as the exam approaches. I would want people who are listening to this not do that. I would want you to be very stern and be very internally motivated with your decision of going for an MBA. And I would want people like to put in all the effort they can, all the time that they can in improving them. And I would also advise them to reach out to as many future like people who are in B school and take advice from them, because see, CAT is a thing that CAT, like how you study for CAT differs from people to people. Everyone is different, and thus you have to realize how you will like how you have to study for it eventually. So I think talking to a lot of people does do like eventually helps. So my final advice is this, that like don't just give up, this just keep going on and you will eventually get in, and even though the period seems tough, it will like lead to something better.
Okay. Those were really nice words. Ayush, we love to have you here again at Career 360. That was a really nice session. I'm sure a lot of students will get help from the insights that you shared. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ayush.